Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful webinar. It's Gerard O'Donovan here, the founder of Noble Manhattan Coaching, and I have an incredibly special guest today, a gentleman that I've known for getting on for 2 years now. Now, his name is Ken Keis, and if you have been involved at all in the last 10 years in the world of creating excellence, business development, management, leadership, then it will be a name that is very, very familiar to you. Ken is the founder, he's the manager, he's the owner of CRG Leader. And in a moment, Ken is going to tell us all about that. But Ken, first of all, let me check. Are you there?
I am there, Gerard. I am here, actually. I'm not there. I'm here.
You're here. And, of course, for our listeners, here is sunny Vancouver.
It is absolutely gorgeous today, so whenever a person's watching it, they can just say, hey, Ken's in the sunshine today.
Wow. And here I am in the south coast of England, and you're over there in beautiful Vancouver. Now, Ken, before we get into this, I just want to check something. I was doing some checking online this morning, and put me right here, but I came across something that your organization, CRG, has just won an international award from HR.com. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you were up against companies like the Disney Corporation, Kenneth Blanchard Training, and many others. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was just actually in Vail, Colorado, and we were nominated and then in the top 3 of international providers of services and programs globally. And so we were in the top 3 of this group of prestigious individuals. And like you said, we were competing with companies like the Disney Institute, Kenneth Blanchard Training. And so our nomination and our award was for the certification training that we provide on all our tools and resources that I know that you endorse. But it was very humbling, but also honoring to have an award globally to be one of the top 3 providers in the world of services and providers to other professional developers.
My goodness, that is absolutely incredible. I'm just looking at the front page of your website here, Ken, and to be honest, you should have that plastered all over the front page. It is such an achievement.
We should, and this week it will go up, and I just got back on late in the week, so you're right. It needs to be plastered all over this front page of the site, but it's not there quite yet.
Good man. Listen, before I ask you to give me a rundown and our viewers and listeners, tell them all about CRG, could you just maybe give me a background to yourself, Ken? How did you get started in this industry? What drew you to it?
Well, I started as a dairy farmer, so it's very similar to coaching and training, is it not?
Indeed, indeed.
Actually, I was in sales and marketing, and my background was in sales and marketing and communications. So in the 80s, I decided to leave my sales position and start in the sales training, sales management training in the late 80s. And then but I always knew that I was going to be a communicator or an encourager of others. I wasn't exactly sure the context of it. Because I was the 3rd generation, firstborn male, Eastern European descent, Hungarian by birth for my parents, there was a lot of cultural pressure to kind of hang out on the farm. So once I decided that I wasn't going to do it, I knew that this is my place I was supposed to go. Now, CRG was actually founded by Dr. Terry Anderson in 1979, and in 1990 I came across him at, you talk about a single event that changes a person's life, is that I ran into him in a Chamber of Commerce lunch and learn event. I'd never known about him. We were both in the same community here, Abbotsford, about an hour out of Vancouver, and we immediately connected, and within 2 weeks we really put our offices together. He just retired, but has been a professor of leadership development in the criminology and law enforcement area for 40 years. And so really, Terry initiated the company because he wanted to kind of provide other tools and resources that were options to what many other people were more well known in the marketplace. And that was kind of my beginning and connection to Terry. And then 11 years ago, I bought the company, and I have some other stories in between there.
Wow, what a journey! What an as Deepak Chopra, he's coined a phrase called synchro destiny, a combination of synchronicity and destiny. So, wow. Wow.
Yeah, well, if I think about it, my whole life has just been consumed with and engaged with CRG in some form or another. You know, in the early 90s, I was VP of marketing, and then I left and had my own consulting, coaching, and training firm, which many of the people watching this or listening to this could attest to. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because we're blessed with, we're in Canada, but we do business in 30 countries and 12 languages now. But at that time, we had the sole source contract for Chrysler Canada with another gentleman. And so we produced all the soft skills training programs for them for 9 years. Process reengineering, leadership, customer service, communication, sales, marketing, advertising, you name it, we built it, strategic planning. But whenever we integrated the CRG assessments into the solutions, they were always the highest rated programs that we deployed. So when after 9/11, unfortunately, the contract ended, and so then the opportunity to buy CRG, the publishing company, was there, and I knew as much about the company as the founder, so that really was the transition from really a speaker who wrote to now a writer who speaks, and just repurposing, taking all our tools, putting them online, redoing all the branding on the print-based, and then and just to encourage the people listening, Gerard, my grade 9 English teacher said I would never amount to anything because I couldn't read or write. And it was discovered when I did my master's degree in business that I am dyslexic. So, you know, the great invention of the computer, the ability to write with a red line underneath it, I've now authored around 3.5 million words of content for somebody who's got dyslexia. So nobody has an excuse of not being able to fulfill their destiny or their call, as I would say, Gerard. If I can do it, if I can write, and my English teacher said I couldn't even read or write, then anybody can do what they are called to do.
That really is an incredible story, Ken. Absolutely incredible.
Well, I actually laugh about it. I mean, I have a book out now called Why Aren't You More Like Me? I have a second book which is called My Source Experience Journal, which I'm rewriting, and it's going to be called The Quest for Purpose later on this year. And then we're redoing my Why Aren't You More Like Me book into a law enforcement version. Mm-hmm. And then we have another book called Transforming Leadership that Terry has written for our leadership model. And so that is going to be redone next year as well. So I said, whoa, where did all that come from? So, I mean, I enjoy presenting and training and just working with professionals, but writing is also a joy as well.
Yeah. And you do quite a bit of traveling, don't you?
I did lots in the 90s. I still do some, yes, and our traveling's now expanding because, you know, just to give people a frame of CRG, CRG really is a resource center for coaches, for consultants, for trainers, for speakers, for HR professionals, for anybody that is in the personal, professional development of others. We are the resource center for them. So I travel the world really sharing this information, this intellectual content, which is all proprietary to CRG. So when people think about, oh, your style model is just like DISC or it's just like Myers-Briggs, it's not. The reason that our company actually was founded by Dr. Anderson is that he didn't appreciate Myers-Briggs in his university courses in the late 70s. We actually had the exclusive rights to DISC in the early 80s, and we found some internal challenges with its design, so that was the birth of the personal style indicator, which they see in the front of their screen right there, which was the first tool in the company. And we never intended to publish it. It was really to serve Terry's students. But the response to our design, which is multi-theory based and addresses the concerns we have in other assessments, was so positive that that tool is now the one that's in 12 different languages around the globe, Gerard. And then what happened from there is people said, well, do you have one for sales? Okay, we have sales. Do you have one for entrepreneurship? Do you have one for values? Do you have one for self-worth? Do you have one for health and wellness? And I have a nutritional background as well, so where we assist people with their health and wellness. And then Terry's work in the university was sharing his leadership model, which is a comprehensive skill model. So that's our Transforming Leadership Skills Assessment, which is a 360 as well, you know, with the values preference indicator, all of these instructional style, learning style, so all of these tools work together as a comprehensive assessment system. And Gerard, one of the reasons why coaches love our tools so much is that they are not tests. They are development tools for the individual, so it helps the individual to start fishing rather than creating a codependent relationship with the consultant, the coach, the speaker, the trainer, is that we give psychology away for the benefit of the learner. And so all the people listening to this, you do not have to come to our certification to use our tools. You can use them immediately. You know, I encourage them to go to crgleader.com/ICN, and from there they can have that partnership. We don't have that up quite yet, but that /ICN site. And that will then drive people to your relationship with us, Gerard, because you see the benefit of how these tools and resources contribute to the credibility, the capacity, and the comprehensive offering that any professional has around the world. In addition to that, it can be a revenue source for people too if they wish to. Now, the other option, sorry, Gerard, you're going to ask something there.
No, I was going to say, I'm very interested because although I am very familiar with your products, I, again, hadn't quite picked up on the fact that you did not have to go through the certification process, and we'll come to that because that's an incredible process, but you didn't have to go through that in order to be able to use it. Could you cover that
Correct.
a little bit more? So imagine if I am a coach out there in the field working with clients and looking to attract new clients. Tell me how I could do that, Ken.
Well, you just can register on our site just as a client or as an affiliate, and anything that your clients buy will pay you a referral fee. But one of the reasons, our belief system is that all our tools are self-scored, self-interpreted. Obviously, if you do the online version, which anybody here can go online, purchase an assessment, you can then forward it to your client. It's free to set up an account, Gerard, but each tool has its own transaction fee. So the personal style indicator is $45 US online, and so then you purchase it, you can forward it to your client, or your client can set their own account and complete it, and then they can actually forward the results to you. We have another option, I won't go into detail, where you can actually have what we call a corporate learning center, and this is great for coaches or HR departments, and all the results then reside in your account, so you can see your clients' scores as soon as they complete it. So that's another service that we offer. So one of our philosophies, Gerard, is that the tools are developed for the learners, and that's why you don't need certification, that it's self-interpreted, self-scored, self-interpretation. Obviously, coming to our certification, which we won the international award for as one of the top 3 programs in the world, is that it helps you understand deeper our models, our definitions. Like we have a whole different definition of introversion and extroversion. It's not the same as what other people use in Myers-Briggs or DISC or some of these other ones. So to really truly understand all the in-depth pieces and workings, it is recommended that you would come to certification if you're going to use a lot of the tools. But I have many individuals. I'll give you an example. We have a large company in California. They have about 25,000, 30,000 employees. They use the tool for 10 years without coming to certification. They just recently participated in certification. In fact, I did an advanced training for them. They said, oh, we didn't know about all the differences, but they still used it for 10 years with hundreds and hundreds of employees before they decided to come to certification. So that's the encouragement, is that those people that are listening, because you have such an international relationship with your membership, Gerard, it doesn't matter if you're in China, we have it in Chinese. If you're in Indonesia, we have it in Indonesian. If we have it in German, we have it in, we don't have French online yet, but we'll have some of these online. We have it in print in Dutch. Swedish is online. We're working with other languages as we go forward. And anybody watching this, if you are somebody who's gifted in translation, we'll partner with anybody around the world to do a translation if we don't happen to have it. So you can access the tools, you can use them, you can call us, you can interact with us, get familiar with them, and then see if certification is something that you want to do. And so you can kind of ramp yourself up over time with that process. So we really allow people to engage us, to engage all the tools. And, you know, one of the things that we'll do, I'll make this offer on this webinar. If you've listened this long, which is 20 minutes in, then we will make an offer that if you're a Global Manhattan client then we will give you a complimentary assessment for you to try. I don't tell you where you are, we'll give you a complimentary assessment.
Wow, that's good.
If you email us at info@crgleader.com and just put Global Manhattan, or you put GM offer in the subject line, free assessment, then, or just put assessment, then we will get back to you and respond to it. We'll actually put it on the landing page /ICN so that everybody there can have experience it. Now, I will say that this is only one assessment, Gerard. We're not going to give you 100 free ones.
Sure.
Just to clarify, sometimes people kind of say, oh, well, look, I got 100 free assessments. So that frames it out. And when people try our tools, we'll have an 80% switch rate from Myers-Briggs or DISC or True Colors or Insights, Gerard, once people understand the differences. Because our tools are significantly different. People, they don't, on the outside or looking in, it doesn't appear as there's differences, but they are subtle differences that make a significant difference to the participant.
Mm-hmm.
So the personal style indicator has 21 patterns, DISC has 16, Myers-Briggs has 16 types. We don't believe in typing people and force them in the boxes. People could get up to 2 or 3 different patterns from us. That doesn't happen in any other tools. If people are ranking our 4 words, they rank 4, 3, 2, 1. With DISC, you'll do least or most. With Myers-Briggs, you'll say yes or no to a polarized question. These are all subtle nuances that allow the participant to be honored in the process. And, you know, same thing with the values or the leadership skills. I mean, the leadership skills, Betsy K. Burr, who is one of the directors of IIC, she believes that our leadership skills is one of the #1 best coaching tools in the world to do executive coachings with leaders, because it gives you a framework of 60 skills, not characters or qualities, that then I can now coach this person to over a long coaching contract. So we have colleagues like that you know, who just really kind of endorse the process. You know what? I grew up in a dairy farm, Gerard. We're not full of ourselves here. I mean, if we come across confident, we are, because after over 1 million plus participants in 30 countries, we're just honored to be able to serve the profession. But we just love our people. I mean, people that join us, we call them the CRG family. We're not something like a great big multinational. We're a small firm with 300 or 400 associates around the world who use the tools to serve their business.
Mm-hmm. And tell me a little bit more about the certification. So if any of the students or coaches that work with us in Noble Manhattan, or any of our greater extended family would be interested in certifying, what's the process, Ken?
Okay, well, if you can click on that certification tab there. Certification, we currently host it in our office in North America in Vancouver. And so certification is currently a 3-day in-depth training. Now, not to scare people away, we go from 8:30 till 10 at night for the first 2 days, and then we finish off at 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock, pardon me, on the 3rd day. We do an orientation of all the tools and resources that we have available. Excuse me. You can see that the training is $19.97 US. That includes $1,200 worth of resources. So I take you through the training during the day, and in the evenings you say, well, that's a late night. I actually have people teaching or doing a teach back of the content that we covered during the day to their colleagues. So it's very interactive. One of the reasons we won the award for this training is that many people think that they're coming to learn about the tools, Gerard. In fact, what's happening is they learn about themselves as much as the tools. You are in the tools while you're learning about the tools. We just had an amazing group here in February. We filmed the session. We'll have it available in the future. But we had an individual who was 65 years of age, used to train the resilience training for the Navy SEALs and the Special Ops for the U.S. military. He has a double PhD. He's taught leadership in North Carolina, and I forget the university name. But his comment was, this is the best training that he had ever attended. And so when people come to it, we really want to honor them. And so our location is just an hour out of Vancouver. Now, one of the other options, and I know we've talked about it briefly at one time, Gerard, is if somebody wants to host an event anywhere in the world, there is a hosting package that we can look at. And so if you have the capacity or you have a multiple bunch of individuals who would be interested, then we will come to you. In fact, this is being recorded, so depending on when you're watching it, but in July 2014, we're going to be hosting our first certification in Asia in Singapore. So that has been confirmed this morning, just before this call. So we'll be there July 14th to 17th in Singapore. We're working with a partner that hopefully host one in the UK or Europe within the next 12 months. And then we'll be actually increasing the frequency of our international certifications as our critical mass grows as well. So we cover all the tools, and what we do is on the Saturday or the third day of training, not only do we talk about the tools, but we talk about the differences of print and online. We have our own print shop, Gerard, and even our site where we can privately brand somebody. People are looking at this, they see the IIC branding up in the top of that website. Mm-hmm. We built that into the site so you could put your logo on your partner link and your logo comes up on the site. It also, we have our own print shop, so if you want to use the print-based versions, you can actually put your logo on our printed tools and we'll print them just in time for you, because we very much believe that we are a partnership kind of environment. So we cover all of these things in our certification, and then in the Saturday afternoon, many times people, it's like drinking from a fire hose, I know that, but we actually give you about an hour and a half to do some planning. So here I have all this information, 3.5 million words of content. Nobody's going to use it all out of the gate. It would be too overwhelming. So what we do is say, where are you going to start? Out of all this tools that are a great buffet, what tool is going to be able to serve your clients in what context? So we give you some time to plan, and then you coach with peers around the world with each other, and it's just an amazing relationship that's built in that 3 days, where you say, Gerard, sell me on what you're going to do with these tools. How are you going to market them? Where are you going to put them? How are you going to coach with them? How are you going to do consulting? So we allow the people to be able to have this private time to be able to see what you're going to do with it, rather than just kind of stop and go and then hope something's going to happen. So that's really the certification. And when I bought the company, it was 2 days in length. It's now 3 full days, and it really should be 4 days. We're going to do a 4-day training in Singapore because they said they didn't want to work at night. So we're adjusting that. But that's the certification. You can see that it's 1997. And by the way, if you have more than one person, a partner, we give you a 25% discount for the other person. So it's $14.97 for any partners from your company that come. So we honor the fact that multiple individuals from the same organization can get a better deal.
That's great. I mean, that really, really is great. I have to say, Ken, you and I, we've known each other for well over a year, and in fact, getting on 2 years, and I've known about your organization and tools all that time. But I never failed to be impressed by the quality of the instruments, the quality of the training. And if you look at the bottom of this page here, certification, and I know you've only put a selection of testimonials, but they are very impressive. They are incredibly impressive. So a big well done to you, my friend. Well done indeed.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You and I both, and I know that's one of the reasons why we get along, Gerard, so well, and I really appreciate everything that you're doing, is that we see it as a privilege to be in this space. Not a right, not, okay, good on you. It's really a privilege to serve, and there's a higher level of accountability for teachers than people who are teaching others. So we take what we do very seriously. We don't take ourselves seriously as far as that, but we just love the people that we work with. We enjoy working with them. I remember one session I had somebody from Sweden, from the UK, from Indonesia, from Egypt, all in the same program. I mean, I know you do a lot of international work too, and you just pinch yourself and say, what? That came from being a dairy farmer to having all these international people in the room appreciating what's going on, and there's nothing more rewarding for us to see that we're able to equip professionals globally, both internally. I mean, you don't have to be a coach and consultant. I mean, if you're watching and you're an internal HR or learning manager, then please join us, because this is for you to get your orientation. And then we have many organizations globally, like Boeing, like Manulife, like other organizations. British Rail have used the materials through our UK partner. So all of these organizations use the tools internally, so that's something that's there for them as well.
Fantastic. And if I just pull up a Word document so that people who are watching this, Ken, can see on screen, people like to look. If they want to take this further, then they would go to crgleader.com/, and did you say NM for Noble Manhattan, or did you say ICN?
ICN.
ICN.com. So they can go there, or failing that, they can send an email to you at what, Ken?
Info at CRG.
FO at CRGleader.com. Fantastic.
And then they could put in the subject matter, they can just put, remember the free offer? We're going to give everybody, just put just put NM offer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, we will do that. So people can see that and we know exactly where to drive them. Now I'd like to thank you so much.
And then we will, you're welcome, we will send a complimentary assessment to the individuals of the choice, and we'll connect them to them. So, and then they have any further questions, we're here to respond to them. Maybe some of the people want more details in writing about why our tools are preferred over others, then we have all that documentation for them.
Oh, well done. And thank you so much for giving up your breakfast to be with us this morning. I know it's bright and early where you are. And
for you, Gerard, any day.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Ken, and I look forward to catching up with you again over the next few weeks. So take care, my friend.
Thanks, Gerard. You're welcome.